Drake just lost again, and this time, it might be the most humiliating L of his entire career. From the World Series to Kendrick Lamar, this man cannot stop taking losses. Let's talk about it. This guy has got to be cursed at this point. Because when we really look at what's been happening lately, especially after the World Series, it's incredible how much humiliation Drake continues to bring upon himself. The amount of losing we're witnessing here is on a level we've never quite seen before. If we break it all down, from the Beast to the Super Bowl to the World Series, Drake has somehow managed to embarrass himself at nearly every major cultural event we've had recently. And while Drake stans are out here trying to frame it as part of some elaborate conspiracy against Cupcake, they're really just doing the same tired, predictable loser routine they always do. What actually happened is this. Drake walked into Subway, made his own sandwich, and then complained he didn't like it. But at the end of the day, my guy, you made the sandwich. Before we dive deeper into everything surrounding the Dodgers win, what it means for Kendrick Lamar, who, by the way, managed to have a massive presence in all of this without even showing up at the World Series, and how Drake has once again solidified himself as the ultimate symbol of losing like we've never seen before, make sure to leave a like. We're going to need it because the cupcakes are about to be bad. And honestly, what's truly wild about the World Series, where the Dodgers beat the Blue Jays in Game 7, is that even compared to everything we've seen so far in this Drake versus Kendrick saga, this might be the most meaningful moment yet. It perfectly captures just how delusional the Cupcake act has become. Let's break it down. Back in 2015, Drake dropped his hit diss track back-to-back, a record that arguably saved his career at the time. The song was a direct homage to the Toronto Blue Jays back-to-back championships in the early 1990s. You'd even see it on the cover. That was a lineage, the sport, the team, the culture, and the moment Drake was channeling for that all-time record. And now, of course, if we fast forward to the recent beef, Kendrick Lamar actually referenced back-to-back on Euphoria, using it as a framing device to signal that he would be returning with more songs, which he did, in full force. That added another entire layer to this saga. So, to put it simply, seeing the Dodgers and the Blue Jays face off in this year's World Series felt almost poetic. It was Los Angeles versus Toronto, the team Kendrick has proudly represented throughout his career, versus the team Drake has famously bandwagoned, with the Dodgers ultimately winning in Game 7 and going back-to-back for their second consecutive World Series title. It genuinely feels like a prophecy fulfilled. From the Blue Jays' original achievement, to Drake's back-to-back, to Kendrick flipping the reference, and now to the Dodgers actually doing it. The full circle moment is undeniable. And honestly, when Kendrick Lamar is the one steering the narrative, reality itself seems to bend around his storytelling. When you actually write your own raps and create your music with genuine authorship, I guess you have a better chance of shaping that reality than Drake ever has. Beyond the outcome of the World Series itself, the reaction surrounding this have been massive. First off, Kendrick Lamar was trending in the top 5 on nearly every major platform afterward, just from people mentioning his name. That alone proves you can try to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. This truly turned into the Kendrick Lamar and Not Like Us World Series, showing once again the kind of cultural impact he has, one that no one else can match. And honestly, two things that happened afterward were absolutely hilarious and almost reignited the beef entirely. The first was a celebratory graphic made by MLB broadcasters after the Dodgers win. It showed Kendrick smiling in the front of a GNX, while Drake sat in the back looking miserable. Predictably, Drake stans went absolutely livid over it, claiming it was part of some grand conspiracy, saying everyone's against Drake, and insisting that no one would do this to any other artist. Some of the things I've heard from these fans are genuinely wild, which is exactly why I had to hop on the mic and talk about it. But we're not giving clout to the usual suspects. Instead, let's focus on what this all represents. Kendrick's victory over Drake mirrored to the teams themselves, and even acknowledged by the MLB. Yet, somehow, that wasn't even the most brutal part, because then Nike stepped in. Now remember, Drake is signed to Nike. He has a full-on deal with them, and is supposed to be one of their faces. So when Nike released a video celebrating the Dodgers' back-to-back World Series wins, right after everything that went down, it was hard not to notice the irony. The video was incredible. They used I Love LA, flipped it into Squabble Up, and created an amazing mashup. Man, Drake. You really managed to make yourself look like the most embarrassing figure in every possible situation. Because if we really think about it, getting dissed, even indirectly by your own employer, that's rough. And while it's not the first time he's clashed with entities tied to him, considering his issues with his label, this one hits different. especially coming from the brand that makes those bizarre and awkward collaborations with him. And once again, we're watching things just keep getting worse for Drake. You really have to hit a whole new level of pathetic to end up where he is now, being dissed by the literal MLB, the literal Nike brand he's supposed to represent, all while the entire city of Los Angeles is laughing at him yet again. Because when it comes to LA's biggest wins, whether it's in rap beefs or what we just saw in the World Series, not only is the LA versus Toronto rivalry more alive than ever, but Drake himself has become the face of those losses. He's managed to turn himself into the symbol of defeat in some of the biggest cultural moments we've seen, whether it's the most electrifying rap beef in years or one of the most exciting World Series we've had in recent memory. And honestly, it's just embarrassing for Drake. We've reached a point where the excuses don't even make sense anymore. While a lot of the stands are out there yelling that the system is rigged, that everyone is somehow plotting against him, and that this would never happen to any other artist, they completely miss the point. They keep saying Drake is just too influential, too popular, too talked about. But let's be real. Influence doesn't excuse everything. To all the Cupcake stands still watching or listening, you're not going to like what I'm about to say. But it needs to be said, Drake has become the face of this loss, even more than any of the actual players on the Blue Jays. And the wild part? It didn't have to be this way. If we zoom out and look beyond the LA versus Toronto rivalry, beyond the Drake versus Kendrick storyline, which, let's be honest, is going to live rent-free in culture for years, there's a simple explanation for why this happened. Drake set himself up for this. When you show up to 3 out of 5 home games in your city, acting like a clown, constantly fishing for attention, posting every moment on social media, showing off, try to troll Los Angeles, their team, and by extension, Kendrick Lamar and Top Dog Entertainment, you're practically begging for backlash. Just like with the rap beef, Drake thought he was untouchable. He thought he could keep poking the bear, taunting people, pushing boundaries, and somehow always come out clean on the other side. He wanted to play the intimidating figure. The guy who walks in, takes what he wants, walks out untouched, and faces no consequences. But here's the truth. That illusion doesn't last forever. Eventually, the mask slips, and when it does, everyone sees exactly what's underneath. That's what we're witnessing now. The key takeaway, and it's one Drake keeps refusing to learn, is that there are always consequences for your actions. You can only provoke so many people, cities, and cultural movements before the tide turns against you. When you antagonize an entire city, not just any city, but one of the biggest cultural and entertainment capitals in the world, this is what happens. LA doesn't forget, and they definitely don't let you off easy. So let's make it simple for the Drake, stand still in denial. Let's go back to the Subway analogy, because it really does say it all. Drake walked into Subway, made his own sandwich, stared at it, took a bite, and then complained it didn't taste good. He started yelling at the guy behind the counter, and the guy just looked at him and said, "Drake, you made the sandwich." And that's exactly where we're at. Every mess he's in, he built himself. And you can picture it, right? Drake leaving Rogers Center, head down, after another public embarrassment, walking out of the biggest venue in the city. Again, realizing this is twice in 4 months that he's been laughed out of his own house. First, Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us performance during the Grand National Tour completely stole the spotlight. The energy, the encore of the crowd, it turned into a full victory lap for Kendrick. And now, just months later, the World Series delivers another L, right there in the same building, with Drake sitting courtside or fieldside in this case, as the internet turns him into a meme again. At this point, Drake has become a bigger joke than any Blue Jays player could ever dream or dread of being. The irony is painful. And honestly, this loss isn't just bad, it's catastrophic. We've never seen a downfall play out quite like this. When you look at the full timeline, the lineage of losing, if you will, it's almost poetic in how tragic it is. From the rap beef with Kendrick, to the Super Bowl humiliation, to the World Series disaster, Drake has managed to position himself as both the punchline and the loser of every major cultural event. And here's the craziest part. This wasn't done to him. He did this to himself. In 2024, and now into 2025, culture has made its verdict clear. It has taken Drake. Through his own choices, his constant need for validation and the character he insists on portraying, and turned him into something no one expected. The biggest loser of our time. Think about it. No matter what lens you view him through, rap, sports, pop culture, memes, Drake has become synonymous with losing. Whenever the Blue Jays lose, there's Drake, sitting courtside, sulking, or suddenly silent after all the trash talk. Whenever something big happens, he's right there, trying to insert himself into the moment. only for it to backfire spectacularly. He's gone from being a dominant cultural figure to a running punchline. The man who once defined trends has now become a trend of failure. The only constant presence he maintains is that of the world's most famous loser. And in a time where everyone's fighting for titles, greatest of all time, biggest winner, most streamed, most successful, Drake still holds one title that no one can take away from him: the biggest loser of all time. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's all I've got for today. Let me know your thoughts about the World Series, how it all went down, and the complete chaos that Cupcake has managed to stir up once again. If you made it this far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out a ton. I hope you had an amazing weekend. I hope your week is off to a great start, and I hope you're taking a moment to enjoy this absolutely wild chapter in pop culture history. And if you want to keep this energy going, check out the next video. Because right before all this, Drake got hit with even more bad news in the lawsuit world. And trust me, it's not looking good for him. You're not going to want to miss that one.